Hi, and welcome. We're doing past simple and past continuous today. If you haven't joined the Kahoot yet, I'll put the pin code in the comments. Should be up at the top. You can also find the game pin here on the screen. I'll give you a few minutes to join. We already have Abdullah, Sarah, and Donald waiting in the lounge. So we're talking about the past simple and past continuous. There's not too much to tell. We're going to practice and you'll see the difference from the questions. Just remember, if something is finished in the past, it is normally past simple. It's a completed action, and we use the continuous in the past if something is a longer activity. So if you are in the middle of an activity, then the long activity can be with the ing form. For events that take place one at a time, one after another, chronological order, you can go ahead and use the past simple. I'll be showing you some examples, don't worry. It's nice to have Stacy back. I remember her from the very beginning. I think she was at the first Kahoot challenge. She did very well. So Donald just disappeared. Maybe we'll give him a second to rejoin. Where is everybody today? Stacy, I never figured out where you were. I was thinking maybe Korea? Hi, Romelia. Nice to have you back. Romelia joined. Donald still isn't in the lounge. He may be having internet problems, as some people do. Kahoot can be a little bit sensitive sometimes too. They kick you out, then you have to rejoin with a slightly different name. Anyway, I think he can join a little bit late if he's having problems. 2 minutes have already passed, so let's start. I can turn up the volume if I did it last time. Okay, good luck, everybody. Past, simple, and continuous. Who's going to win this time? The past simple. Okay, just a little summary. Events in chronological order in the past, as in, I brushed my teeth and went to bed. First I brushed my teeth, then I went to bed. If you're only talking about one action in the past, you can go ahead and use the past simple. I watched a film last night. Okay, so there's only one event in the sentence. Just go ahead and use the past simple. One completed action. The past continuous we use for longer actions in the past. It was raining when I left. So raining was the longer action, and you left in the middle of that. Background information in a story. The sun was shining and the birds were singing. You'll hear this in stories. Or if something is narrated, they may use this past continuous. And longer actions happening at a specific time in the past. So we would say, I was eating dinner at 6 o'clock. At 6 o'clock, you were in the middle of the activity. Okay, and then you can also use it, there wasn't too much space here, but you can also use it when there are two longer activities. So if you're doing two things that are obviously taking longer time together for equal amount of times, you can also use the past continuous. I was skateboarding while I was brushing my hair, for example. That's not so common, but it's possible. First question, Yesterday, the phone rang while I was reading my book. The phone was ringing while I was reading my book. Or the phone was ringing while I read my book. So what do you think is the longer activity? Very good. The phone rang while I was reading my book. You can also think of the keywords like while is mostly followed by a continuous form. Very good. And Donald too did show up. Sarah, Abdullah, Stacy, and Ramelia. Nice small group today. Second question. I worked as a waitress when I was meeting you, or I was working as a waitress when I met you. Which is longer? Okay. Let's see how you did. Perfect. I was working as a waitress when I met you. Very good. When I met you is just one instance, right? So that would be in the simple. Donald is at the top. Here is a true or false question. He was talking and driving. Is it true or false? He was talking and driving. He was talking and he was driving. True. Perfect. So he was doing both over a long period of time. He was talking and driving. A couple changes there. Here's you have a poll question. What were you doing at this time yesterday? Two people were sleeping, one person was chatting, two people were eating, and nobody was doing other. So I knew what everybody was doing. Okay. I was dropping a plate when I was doing the dishes. I dropped a plate when I did the dishes, or I dropped the plate when I was doing the dishes. Perfect. Everyone got it right. I dropped a plate. It was one instant, so it's in past simple. When or while I was doing the dishes, the longer activity. Good. Sarah's in first place. Number 8 out of 20, not a very long one today. Okay, this is a multi-select. I do my homework while my dad cooks dinner. I was doing my homework while my dad was cooking dinner. And I did my homework while my dad was cooking dinner. More than one are correct. 1, 2, or 3. What'll it be? Okay. I do my homework while my dad cooks dinner every night. That one would also be okay. I do my homework while my dad cooks dinner. I was doing my homework while my dad was cooking dinner, also possible. And I did my homework while my dad was cooking dinner. That means I finished my homework while he was cooking dinner and completed it. The blue one, I was doing it while he was cooking, means you were doing it, but maybe you didn't complete it, but you were doing the activity at the same time as he was cooking dinner. Good. I'm happy with that one. Donald, too, takes the lead, overtakes Sada. and then Abdullah, Stacy, Romelia. 5 is actually a good number to play because everyone's on the screen. I was seeing a shooting star as I was walking home. I saw a shooting star as I was walking home. I was seeing a shooting star as I walked home. Which is correct? Perfect. Everyone got it. I saw a shooting star, shorter action, as I was walking home, longer action. Sarah's on fire. Donald, too, is still in the lead. Very good. Okay, the kids played loudly when the teacher entered the classroom. The kids played loudly when the teacher was entering the classroom, or the kids were playing loudly when the teacher entered the classroom. Okay, good. So the yellow one is the correct one. The kids were playing loudly when the teacher entered the classroom. Okay, the blue one is not correct because entering the classroom is definitely the shorter of the two actions. And the longer one would be they were playing. Good, no changes there. The electricity went out just as the show got interesting, was getting interesting, has got interesting. The blue one is correct, was getting. It was just getting interesting. It was starting to become interesting and the electricity went out. That one is a little bit difficult. You could use got only like the electricity went out after the show got interesting, maybe. You could use it with a different time phrase. But in this case, it has to be was getting. Good. Okay, Sarah is in the lead, followed by Abdullah, then Donald, Romelia, and Stacy. We played a board game when she walked through the door. We were playing a board game when she was walking through the door. Or we were playing a board game when she walked through the door. Which is the longer and which is the shorter? Perfect. We were playing a board game when she walked through the door. It's not possible to play it to be walking through the door longer than a board game, right? Sarah is on fire. 13 out of 20. Oh my God. When did that happen? Oh my God, when was that happening? Or, oh my God, when did that happen? Oh my God, when did that happen? Remember, it's one thing finished in the past, so you take the past simple. When did that happen? Stacy moved up a place. Number 14 out of 20. He finally stopped work and fell asleep on the desk. Or he finally was stopping work and was falling asleep on the desk. Or he finally stopped work and was falling asleep on the desk. Good. Red. He finally stopped work and fell asleep on the desk. So falling asleep is not a longer activity normally, one after the other, chronological order. Good. Okay, now Romelia moved up a place. There's been a little bit of excitement between 4 and 5. True or false? Now you got to watch the picture. You got to watch the little video. The door opened when he was ringing the doorbell. Is it true or false? False. Good. The door opened when he rang the doorbell, because first he rang the doorbell and then the door opened. No continuous. Sarah's in the lead, but Abdullah's on fire, and Donald is close behind. I was knowing that idea would never work. I knew known that idea would never work. Good, perfect. I knew that idea would never work. You know your stated verbs. To know is never in the ing form. Very good. Okay, 17. 2 words. He was running home because it was getting late, or he was run home because it was get late. And you got to pay attention to the spelling. Okay, so the blue is correct because when you use the ing form with run and with get, you have to make it double N and double T. Got to pay attention to the spelling there. Very good. That's the only spelling question in this game. Only 3 more questions. I walked home when it started to rain. I was walking home when it was starting to rain. I was walking home when it started to rain. So 2 are correct. I walked home when it started to rain. That means first it started to rain, and then I walked home. I was walking home, and while I was walking home, it started to rain. So in the middle of the activity. The red and the yellow are the 2 possibilities. Very good. Sarah is in the lead, or Sarah. Number 19. We left because it had begun to rain, was beginning to rain, or were beginning to rain. Two are multi-select. It had begun to rain, so it started raining before, or it was beginning to rain. It was just beginning to rain when we left. Good. Romelia moves up to 3rd place. Abdullah's on fire, and Sarah is in the lead. Multi-select, last question. What did you do when you heard the news? What were you doing when you heard the news? What have you done when you heard the news? 2 are possible. Good. So what did you do when you heard the news? That means what did you do right after you heard the news? What were you doing when you heard the news means what activity were you in the middle of when you heard the news? So they're slightly different, but both correct. And let's see who the winner is. Who gets the free private lesson? Stacy is in 3rd place. Abdullah is in 2nd place. And the grand prize winner is Clara. Good job. Donald in 4th, Romelia in 5th. Everyone did a great job. I don't think there were any difficulties. Hi, Vikas. So this one. I think this one all were correct, right? I do my homework while my dad cooks dinner. I was doing my homework while my dad was cooking dinner. And I did my homework while my dad was cooking dinner. Very good. Okay, thank you, everybody. I hope you enjoyed it. Sarah, you can contact me. All my information is in the show notes, my email. We could have a private lesson. And thank you all for playing. I look forward to seeing you next week. And take care. Bye, Sajib. Thank you, Romelia. Bye.